Welcome to the Yoga Better Podcast. My name is Andrew Dugas. Today we talk about building things. We're going to interview two guys that build things with business, with compassion, with attentiveness, with thoughtfulness. If you didn't know this, here at Yoga Better, we love business. And when we say business, it can be lots of different things. Really, business is everything and nothing. It's what you say it is. All you got to do is sit in front of a computer, wiggle your fingers, clicky-click, pay LegalZoom or Rocket Lawyer a couple $100, and like magic, everyone just agrees that you have a thing now. And from nothing, you've created a thing that might be able to put food on someone's table. And I think that's profound. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so we cultivate our understanding of business, and we care about it. We value that you are a customer when you come to our studio. About 2 months into the pandemic, we wrote a email, put it on our website, put it on Facebook, a little update of how we were doing. And two longtime students, people who had sort of circulated in and out of the practice, friends of the style for sure, people for whom we knew the style had made a difference and they loved it. They reached out to us. I didn't actually know what they did. It turned out they're investors. They go in and they help startups or established businesses level up, do the next thing. And although they never invested in our business with money, we ended up having a weekly call every week for almost 6 months. So imagine that. Do the calculations. Two people taking an hour, sometimes often more, rarely it ended at an hour, out of their lives to support people for whom there was no financial interest, there was no gain. When we succeeded, it wasn't like they got to make more money when they sold their stock of our company. It was literally they saw people that they cared about and they devoted their time. These are two of the nicest damn dudes you'll ever meet. They're thoughtful, curious, sharp as Japanese cutlery. They are the kinds of people you want in your community. In our conversation, we will talk about creating things in Houston, how Houston is really a factory for creativity, community, parenting, business, the problems of measuring things in life and in business. There are huge parallels. Really, the skills of one can absolutely help you in the skills of another. And most importantly, relationships. These guys are also insanely modest about their accomplishments. They have both independently and together started and steered businesses in the tens of millions of dollars while maintaining an enviably high quality of life for themselves and their beautiful families. These guys make choices with lots of data, and the dollar isn't the bottom line for them. They have other bottom lines. They look at the dollar, but they don't chase the dollar. And it really shows both in how they deal with other human beings and clearly in the life they have built for themselves and all the work that they do building in this community that here in Houston, Texas, we all get to enjoy. I'll quit talking. Let's get to it. You'll love these guys. Andrea. Welcome to Hey Andrea. It's where we talk to Andrea. So what exactly are we listening to here?
Well, our neighbors over at our studio. Not there that often, but when they are, you know, because I believe from what I can hear that they are doing photo shoots for babies and children. And so we're listening to whoever it is, try to make the baby smile.
Are you telling me that we were just standing in our room with a mic pointed at a wall?
We were 100% doing that. It's quite loud.
So you taught a class the other day where they were. So you taught a class the other day where they were doing a photo shoot, and then what happened?
One of the students said, "What if you taught us like that?" And so I taught them.
Little did he know you have children.
And I was also a cheerleader, so I'm pretty good at
baby cheerleader.
Baby, that's right. So I taught in try to make a baby smile voice.
Can you give us a taste?
For me to, okay. Why did you kiss your foot with your right hand? Yay! Grab that foot. You're doing so good. Yay! Sort of like that. You're doing so amazing. Wow, look how great you caught that ankle. It's so inspiring. Oh my goodness. Okay.
You have to talk to a baby about how inspiring it is.
I don't know. This is what I said. I don't know. Okay, so probably would not have said that, but... Probably. Can you get that foot with your hand? Oh my gosh, look at you. Oh, it's so good. You're doing so wonderful. Amazing. How about that? You know what? I like ice cream. Do you like ice cream? Let's talk about ice cream while we grab our ankle. When I first started teaching here, before I knew that what she was doing, it was just super loud in there. And there was no context It was nice the other day because it was at the beginning of class. Sometimes it's at the end of class, which is a little bit more problematic. But, a little dash of life.
It's too enthusiastic. It's not our style.
Right, but it's a distraction.
That's why.
Yeah, I know, but you have to deal with life is full of distractions. And how do you deal with life? How do you...
I'm talking about teaching that way. So this never bothered me. This is unscripted, by the way. We're just standing here. This sort of has to traumatize these babies a little bit.
I was thinking, because babies, I just imagine being a baby whoa.
Cameras have this really intense connotation.
Yeah, it's exhausting. I'm a Harley Davidson. Okay, I just kind of failed that one. That's what it sounds like, right? Yeah. Oh, and they were also doing, I don't know what or why. I don't ever want to know either because it's funnier to not know. You heard her do it, but it was like this. We're like, are you practicing puking for the baby? I don't know. You heard her do that again? She's just sounded like she's puking everywhere. Like that kind of thing. It's very strange. You got a good chuckle out of it.
To be fair.
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 You have crap in your pocket? That's gross.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast.
You eat shit for breakfast? No, I mean, what?
No.
Listen to what I say. Get out of my way, or you'll pay. I just may go down by the bay and lay down some hay. What do you say?
I love your combination, Andrew, of hippie vibe and kind of ethos with hardcore tech gear guy.
I mean, you got to have the gear, man.
Have you seen that Portlandia?
No.
About get the gear.
No.
It reminds me of Andrew so much.
No.
You got to get the gear.
Put a bird on it.
Yes. I can pickle that.
Well, so there's a lot of ways we could go. I like business. I like talking business. I also like yoga. I like helping people. I like community service, all of which you guys are super duper resources for. But maybe you could just say who you are and a little bit of what deal is with your whole life and stuff.
Life, yeah.
What's your purpose?
I'll gladly start there.
Easy stuff.
Maybe first, Shawn, you can go.
Houston, Texas, born. I had an opportunity to leave Texas for college, went to Tennessee, got an opportunity to travel, lived in Paris, then San Francisco, and missed Texas. Never thought I'd come back and never looked back once I did. And really enjoyed Texas. And what brought me back post-college was an opportunity just to be around the people in the state, and that's been meaningful, and that has helped shape some of my engagements, not taking the traditional path, but finding people out there that you like working with in a community. And our community is a goofy community. Houston, who would choose to live here yet? Yeah. Lots of people do, and lots of people are moving here every day. And I think that's really important. It's not what looks good on the outside; it's what you peel back on the onion.
Yeah, we don't have the look good on the inside yet. We're working on that.
Yeah. But subsequent to that, have been involved, started a handful of businesses. Don't consider myself an entrepreneur by any stretch, but I like that sense of community, of putting your mind to something and trying to accomplish it. And there's great value in that. And it's not always the financial aspect of that makes it worthwhile. It's most often the most rewarding part of that is the relationships and the kind of the combined journey together to make that happen. So that drives everything I do. Trying to find that community where you have shared values and goals and go out and have fun and kick butt.
Have fun and kick butt.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's kung fu.
I was listening to Shawn's self-intro there and started realizing the startling lack of diversity you have across the table from you today, because my story is super similar.
Awesome. Now you, Jeremy.
Houston native who went to New Jersey for college, came back to Texas, and really similarly never left. I had a pit stop in Austin on my way back to Houston. I'm similarly a fan of the Texas kind of mishmash, and Houston in particular And I'm a big Houston booster. Houston, it's worth it, right? Whether it's the cockroaches or the no mountains. That's one of my favorite corporate city advertising slogans of all time. But it's a peculiar, mix of people and stuff and things here, but it's an alchemy that really works for me anyway. And it just feels like it is home, and it feels like home to me here. And I like being involved in projects that have a strong Houston focus and that benefit us as Houstonians, especially ones that are passionate about kicking butt and having fun. So the White Oak Music Hall project that I'm involved in, or that Lindsay and I have been involved in, is something really I think that exemplifies that for me, right? Doing something that's, yes, I think it's going to be long-term financially rewarding. It's been a long haul, but more importantly, it's something we just really needed, and in this city, to have an outdoor music venue that you can get to without getting in your car and battling I-45 for 45 minutes to go to a giant outdoor thing at Cynthia Woods. So those aren't my only goals in business, and mine are similar to Shawn's in the sense that it's about, for me, kicking butt / making money. That's the way you keep score, in the investing game, and having fun, and then building something. So you talked about community, and I think for me it's about building something. I used to like to build stuff, when I was a kid, whether it was a model cars that you could drive, those little RC kits, or the model rockets you could shoot up. So I like to build stuff that you can touch and feel, and that's something that's hard to come by sometimes in finance world. I am an entrepreneur at heart. I have started a number of businesses. Shawn and I are, work together at a business that we started called Valedor that helps other businesses, get started or continue to grow. But I am kind of an entrepreneurial person at heart. I got stuck in my first business for too long here. That's the lesson I learned. Started something that turned into a pretty successful, on a relative basis anyway, firm called Salient, and we had a great run, but I wound up being I looked around 16 years in, I'm like, whoa, my partners that I started this, I'm not even here with anymore. One of them had died, one of them had left, and I don't know that I like everybody here, and I'm not having fun, and we are fighting headwinds in this industry that we were in, and it was just, it's like, oh, what am I still doing here? And the good news about, this country and, the situation I found myself in was that I was able to just stop and go do something else, which has been a lot more rewarding.
Yeah. So I hear quality of life, community, building things. The last podcast we did, I did a segment on a comedy special that was done by one guy in one room with a single camera. And just sort of reflecting on that, him doing that sort of set me free in thinking I had some invisible barriers on what I thought I could create, because I do things myself all the time. And I'm in this mode now where I have this idea that I need to pull people in and create community and all this stuff, but still you can create a lot yourself. And it's like, oh yeah, I could just do the thing. It was just my new saying. I was talking to a 92-year-old client she's been doing so much stressful stuff, and she got a lot of benefit from a conversation we had around choice. And what we say in this practice is, if you're empowered, if you know you had choice. So for 16 years, you sort of weren't thinking about whether you could or should leave, and then you just woke up and you realize, like, oh, I have a choice. I can leave, and then you feel great. I can choose to stay and have fun, kick ass, or I can choose to leave and go make the next thing. But anytime you feel disempowered, it's when you have this idea that you don't have choice, but that's not logical, that's not rational, that's not true. And so I really like, this is my new favorite saying is, human beings are rational, logical robots trapped in emotional meat suits. And so you have logic. It's being shaped or clouded by the emotions of your body or your situation. And you have to catch yourself feeling disempowered to do anything about it. But with the creating, like with this guy created this thing, it was the struggle. It wasn't fun for him.
It didn't seem like that.
It doesn't seem,
What are you talking about? The Netflix special with the Brian
Bo Burnham.
Yeah, I have still or Bo Burnham. Yeah, the two B's, double B. I still haven't watched that.
It's hard to recommend it to people because it has both curse words every other word, and it deals with mental illness from the pandemic.
Sign me up.
And I will warn you that it's basically now all we do is either quote it or sing it.
No, I can't wait to get in on the inside of this. I feel very out.
They're all inside jokes, really. What I noticed is that in sort of reflecting on what he did and how clouded we get with not feeling like we have choice, most people really live their lives not leaving anything behind. Like, they don't actually create stuff. And it's to me, if they choose that or if they're happy, like, who cares? Of all the places that you could be. Houston, I'm from Houston. I just happened, we all got lucky.
We all have a very similar story.
You probably wouldn't have,
the same way.
if you grew up in New Jersey, you probably wouldn't have chosen Houston.
No, you would have been, but you might have wound up here by accident, which is what happened.
It's a magnet, right? This is why I love it.
Yeah.
When we were in Tango, we met through Tango. We were the only 2 native Houstonians in the whole Tango community. That's why I love Houston. But we all happen to have tasted how, if you want to create something here, you can.
Absolutely, and that is different. I have, and that's something that's been confirmed to me by a number of the transplants that have shown up here in the last few years. I've always felt like one of my goals in life or missions is to be kind of the welcoming party for new people to town and make sure that they don't make the cardinal sin of living outside the loop, and then go from there, right? But recently with, the influx, and I'm not even talking about the California Austin, pipeline, which is real.
It's crazy.
And it's also spilling, we're going to have the spillover effect here in Houston is kind of my view there. But we have, like, Shawn and I have an office mate who moved to town from Chicago, 2 years ago?
Yep.
And he has just fallen in love with Houston because it's, not -20 in January, but what he talked about is that openness and, the fact that people don't really care that much here where you're from or what you're, what title you had or what, thing you checked off on some qualification box. If you have a good idea and you're passionate and you're knowledgeable about it, people get on board, and that is very rare, especially in the money centers, the old school, cities in this country. There's still, it's still very different in terms of, community and pecking order and things like that.
Yeah, we're really lucky as a city we're the number 1 largest, most international city in the country now, surpassing LA and New York.
It's awesome.
It makes for,
in terms of the diversification here, or
from immigration and where folks have come from and landed here, and so a lot of openness and willingness to see new ideas. And that, as an investor group, that is something we think is severely undersold here in Houston, that there's a lot of really smart people here, very talented. We were fortunate enough to meet you guys as you were embarking on a change and trying to do something different within your own business. Obviously, we'd known you as instructors and been participants in yoga classes, but getting to know you deeper through COVID, frankly, allowed us, and watching you evolve your business has been super positive for us and also very rewarding to us. I think Jeremy and I have talked about it before. Really impressed by you guys, and you can edit all of this out.
No, this is all going right in.
We're not taking it. That's right.
Okay.
We just put that on repeat. It was a couple times.
You talked about exceptionalism. Did I leave something behind? And I think we all agree we can leave very small footprints behind that have a lasting impact. And so all of our lives are connected by how many folks were we able to impact, even in the smallest way. I don't teach my kids exceptionalism. I hope that they are. Maybe there's a shot. Who knows? But what I teach them is, can you be kind, confident, and curious about the world around you? And if you follow those 3 things, you're going to find a way and to be happy in this world. And that's what we hope for.
The 3 c's.
Yeah.
If you knew Shawn's 2 kids, you'd understand how successful that parenting philosophy has been. That's really great.
Got to have some. It's actually started out as a measuring stick for, like, are we doing a good job as parents?
Yeah.
Like, what's really important? So coming up with something simple.
Well, that's exactly what you guys do in business. You're doing to relationships and parenting and life choices what you would do in business. How do you create a metric out of the different things? It's hard to measure stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the things I thought about driving over here. What I'm thinking of, what's my pearl of wisdom that I'm going to show up with in this podcast, and hope that people listen and appreciate it. And one of them was to this point, Andrew, about metrics and business that you mentioned. And we've just talked a lot about soft stuff and community building and passionate people and making a difference. And all of those things are super important, I think, to all 4 of us, which is, I think, why we've connected so strongly. But ultimately, if you're talking business, math is part of the program. And so, one of the things that I think we talk about internally at Valedor when we're talking about other businesses is talking to the founder or the owner or our partner in a business, and talking about what's the math of your business, what's the equation of your business, right? And we all know, okay, well, there's accounting and there's income and then there's expenses and then there's profit and da-da-da. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what are the key things that drive success in your business, right? And these things these equations aren't complicated. In fact, the simpler that you can make them to the point of that we were just hitting on, the better, the more impactful they are. But it's surprising how that simple question can have kind of profound insight once you've kind of worked through it, and how few people are really prepared to, even people that really know their business well, and they may even know their they can read you the main parts of their financial statements for the last few quarters or year to date out of memory, but do they really understand the pieces that are impacting and business and driving results? Not always.
It's a different skill set, but it's driven by a different set of questions. Yeah. So the why of your business is such a wonderful question. That's why I love business, because you have to actually stay curious and be rigorous and ask good questions. And most people relate to their health like somebody relating to their bank account. Like, oh, okay, I'm going to pull up my numbers on my bank account on my laptop. I don't like what that says. And so they get out a Sharpie and then they write the number that they'd like on the screen. And they're like, okay, I'm done. And they close it. Like, that's how they treat their health. Yeah. And kind of most people, that's how they view business too, or really anything that they create, because it's hard to actually look at yourself in the mirror.
As investors, one of the things we have to be careful about is knowing who you're investing behind. And so shared vision and values are important. Sometimes they can be in conflict. You never know people till you sit across the table from them, and there's actually hard decisions on the line, or money oftentimes on the line. We, as a partnership, work to kind of flesh that out, where somebody can be challenged.
Right.
Hey, you've spent a lot of time with this person, but do you really understand where their head is? And so the simpler we can make a business or an evaluation of a business, the easier it is for us. It's not a he said, she said, but it forces partners to have to sit across the room from each other and say, neither of us knows who's right, but I have to respect your opinion that you feel strongly about this.
Right.
And that is the kind of dynamics that we look for in our own partnership, but furthermore in the folks that we intend to invest alongside and partner with to help them grow their business. Those are critical because they got to trust us too. And you're always selling and always evaluating in the position that we're in. And it makes for interesting opportunities, to get to know people.
People.
Yes.
Man, people. So I was a classical musician turned yoga instructor, and it seems like I'm like around people all the time, but the reality is if you teach yoga, you stand in front of the room and you don't have to talk to anybody, really. You just sort of make your pronouncements and tell people what angle to put their thumb, and then you walk out of the room. And if you walk around fast enough, you don't have to talk to anybody. It's great. As a classical musician, what you do is your job is to play with 110 other people, but what you do for your job is you sit in a room by yourself and you practice. And you isolate yourself, and there is no community, and very unhealthy in every possible way, physically, mentally. But I was thinking about, why don't I choose Andrea? When Andrea and I first started dating, my best friend just looked at me like, that is such a mistake, dude.
He also looked at me and said, that is such a mistake.
That was we have a very good friendship. And he said, you're full of shit. This is never going to work. And I could not have enunciated it this well at the time, but it didn't take me long to really, upon asking, like, why the fuck do I feel so strongly about being with this person that I would propose to her after 14 days.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks.
That's my style.
That's legit.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Yeah, this is
legit.
We're learning that's legit. Too legit. Too quit.
To wit.
To wit.
To wit.
I realized that her commitments in her life are what I want. For instance, one of the first commitments she made when she was a kid is her dad asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? She said, happy. And she she saw his face sort of like, wait, that's not an answer. But that's an answer. Like, that's the context. Whatever I choose, that's the context.
If I'm going to do it, I'm going to have fun, and it's not like a happy, like a Disney happy, but just even being happy with things not working. How quickly can I laugh at it?
And
to me, it's happiness.
And caring about community. And she also, the things that she wants in her life are things that I want. And that's sort of why people choose businesses. That's why they choose everything, right? There's value over there for them. For you. I see value over there for me, and so I choose that thing. 100%. Like, how I was choosing, all the choices I made reinforced my predisposition to hate people and always be alone and eat as much as I want and and pretend there weren't consequences. And so later in life, I'm like, why? Andre has friends. I don't know. Maybe you guys are like this. Do you have friends from elementary school?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, it's fucking. I don't know. That's
we are friends from elementary.
We're friends
Oh,
from
well, there you go.
pretty damn close to elementary school, if not elementary school. Yeah.
okay. Well, never fucking mind. But she has friends from elementary school and junior high and high school and
And
college.
college.
And my best friend in the world I haven't seen in 7 years. Like he lives in Europe. Like and I was trying to think like why am I so bad at friends? And it's obvious like I haven't practiced, but the whole first 20 some odd years of my life, my choices reinforced that, so that I got better at the thing called no friends. And it's like, oh, I just need to practice. And of course, that's why I choose somebody like this, because she's so good at having friends. And like me, a dinner party is kind of a nightmare. Her dinner, I just said kind of. I know how to have fun now. And I actually, the thing is, if I actually didn't like people, I wouldn't choose you. And that's the thing.
Well,
I do
you
like
wouldn't
people.
choose anyone 'cause
I just am bad at.
Everyone is people.
Including hating myself. Yeah, if I
All
don't-
right,
I hate myself.
Andrew, you reminded me of a phrase we had growing up, which was you said I practiced something that removed friends, kept me in my own little zone. We had Nintendo, no friendo. That's what the parents would tell us.
Oh,
So
I like that.
That is a lesson I have passed on to my kids.
I
I
like
will
it.
walk by if they're playing video games. It's Nintendo, no friendo.
That's very good.
I'm glad to know that now. I wish I'd known that last night when I was talking to my son about his video gaming, which I'm in favor of in moderation, right? Moderation in all things, including moderation.
Yes.
Right, my life motto. Yeah, Andrew. You're reminding me of a really good friend of mine who is a lot like you in terms of being incredibly thoughtful, willing to buck the conventional wisdom, and in fact, like hardwired to fight conventional wisdom, right? And he was in a similar position of being kind of not getting older in life, and realizing shit, I don't really have a lot of great friends, and I've been making these choices that have compounded that or exacerbated that, and he wound up meeting a wonderful woman similarly who's kind of opened that up for him. They live in Amsterdam. Over there as an expat, he was starting to get closed off again, right? Because he's in this land and he doesn't know Dutch, but he's actually learned to speak Dutch, and he had to make a commitment to like getting better at having friends. And he's like, it's a math problem. I have to actually ask people to hang out with me and invite people over, right? And he had to be very intentional about that. And now he's created this a smaller network, probably enough that he can, as much as he can handle with the way he's wired, but he's created friends, but he had to be really, really specific and intentional about it.
And so the practice, our business, as a recovering hippie, it makes sense I would go from classical music to yoga, because in yoga, everything is about how it feels. And so then it gets equated to it's an art to understand this stuff when, well, maybe no one has just tried to measure it. Maybe no one has accurately defined it. Maybe no one has systematized and documented what we do know so that we can properly ask the questions of the stuff that's missing. Why do we even do headstands? Why do we do down dog? Well, those are like, in your business, that's what we do all the time. It's like, why this whole, do we even need this entire part of our business? What can we let go of? What can we add? Where are we going? What we did with the physical practice is we just literally put everything that there is to do on the table. Every pose, every practice, every inherited thing, from chanting Om to certain kinds of meditation to, spreading your fingers like this in down dog. Whatever the thing is, why? And to your point, it's curiosity. Just like, can we just stay curious and allow that to drive? And then you end up creating things inevitably. And what we do in our teacher training, with the course, we say, we actually don't let you memorize anything. We don't encourage you to memorize anything. There's no sequence you have to memorize. The test doesn't test how well you memorize shit. When I write the test, I'm trying to test how you think. I know right around week 8, it's normally we're right at week 8, but it was kind of early for this course, where I'll ask a question. I'll say, why this? And I can see everybody do this. Okay, my knee-jerk answer is this.
Stop. Warning.
Don't say that.
But definitely don't say that, because Andrew, this is clearly a trick.
Yes.
And as I drive home, I have this feeling I got him. Because if you're engaging with, everybody wants to just have an answer. What's the answer? It's actually kind of uncomfortable having a question you can't answer, but the way we describe it is we collect questions rather than answers. And if you just keep collecting good questions, then you will always arrive at a better and better answer. but then you come back to it.
Your systematic approach to hard-earned and proved knowledge, like you were just describing, is so pleasing. In a world where that is so far from the norm, right? We are all just inheriting these standbys and axioms and rules of thumb that we don't even know where the hell they came from, and they probably were misinterpreted somewhere along the way in this game of telephone. But everybody just assumes that they're all true.
100%.
And it just is so rewarding to have watched you over the years go through this, and things have changed, right? From when I first started seeing you 10 years ago. I say you guys now because now I do more of Andre's classes on the live class
because we're weak,
because I can't take it. But to watch the change, right? Like some of the stuff that you recommend, some of the stuff you did, or Cobra, right? You didn't used to do Cobra, right? But now you talk all the time like, hey, we experimented with this, and it turns out Cobra's pretty legit, and like that just gives me such a great feeling as an acolyte, right? that my leader, is out there, doing the work, and that's just so rare.
Well, you said it perfectly. We describe and yoga's such a weird thing because if you say the word yoga in India, nobody knows what you're saying because it means 47,000 people to 22 million people. What are we doing? Are we doing tradition? Are we doing classic? No, it's just inherited. Mm-hmm. It's just the stuff our teacher was taught. Mm-hmm. What's real yoga? I have a definition for real yoga. What's real yoga?
I have a definition.
I can't wait to hear both of these answers.
So real yoga is when you go out into the ocean and you're in a boat and you got your fishing rod and you cast it and then you reel something in, and it just happens to be that you're also breathing and you're feeling the turn of your hand, and it's real yoga.
That is my passion, by the way.
Oh, is it?
You truly.
All I want to do with my time is go stand on the front of a
It is real yoga.
And see fish come at me and cast a fly to them and strip it in and catch them and feel the fish pull and release it. So I didn't know how much I loved yoga. Now I can say it.
Your definition will probably be different.
I don't know. I mean, that was pretty good. I would have to say yoga girl.
I'll go. Oh, yeah, go.
What was that? So the way we define real yoga, which of course you could just replace yoga with anything, like what's real music, what's real, like real yoga is the first yoga you did where you really liked it. True. That's it. That's the truth now.
Back to the business of yoga a little bit. Like one of the things we were talking about the equation of your business or math. Like one of the things you guys found out relatively quickly is, hey, if we're in a business of passing on knowledge, right? There's a limit to how pipe's too small, right? If I have to have a person come to me for an individual lesson or even in a group lesson, format, you literally have, I know you've done the math because we've shared that math or looked at it together through your spreadsheet, right? How many hours do I have in the week? Like, and there is you just can't scale that business. And I know that's probably common sense, or people think that's easy to understand in a lot of contexts. But that is something that people, I think, when they get into knowledge transfer businesses, may not understand when they first get into it. You ultimately, unless you're one of those people that can white out your bank account and get away with that, you run into that brick wall. Yeah. Right. What I think is so cool about what you guys do is that your approach is so differentiated that you have a chance to scale that business, right? Because it's a unique and highly effective approach. And now the trick is really, how do you bottle that? How do you communicate that? Right. How do you market that in a way that's as effective as your actual method is? That's a fun problem to work on, because it absolutely has a solution, right? Like you will never convince me that what you do is not super different from what other yoga teachers do, and it warrants a broader audience.
Especially with my background and being a personal trainer, even my degree in exercise science, all that I know about the body, nothing.
Minor in nutrition.
No, I didn't say it. But a minor in nutrition?
Check. Now we're impressed.
No.
Yes.
I was going to say.
Thank you.
And with a minor in nutrition.
That's right. I can't go quite that deep with my voice, but I can give you a double chin. So one of the things I wrote down to just say, we were talking about how important questions are. The problem with answers is that once you have the answer, you stop looking. It's the same thing as the saying, if you lose something, you always find it in the last place you look, because you don't look anymore after that. And that's sort of like answers. If you don't engage in the question, if you're not curious, then you don't actually know. Even the stuff that's inherited, like the little pithy sayings or from the past, I think engaging in the question is important. And it has been fun to, in some ways, in a weird way, I guess you could say, to be in this last year where I actually did get to question what we're doing and not just rely on what I knew 2 years ago or 3 years ago, but like right now reassessing. And for the uniqueness of it, my dad, 74, he's not,
Larry.
Yes, he's so wonderful. But this weekend we went hiking in Garner. Mind you, one of the hikes we did was in the rain on limestone. And he hiked up
and down.
Yeah.
74 years
It was
old.
so cool.
Well, that's how. Listen, I know that what you guys do works for me because I'm me, right? And so I can judge what happens and how every single time I commit to spending time with one of you, either in person or virtually, I feel better at the end of that session. But the reason that I know how impactful what you do is for everyone and not just me is that I used to go to those classes at the Houstonian. And the difference between those people in your classes who were regulars when they started months and years later, it's striking. It was striking. And that's, we haven't, and this is what excites me the most about y'all's business is the way that it's not geared towards, and I'm not want to be offensive about any of these guys. It's not geared towards tech bros or investment bros. It's not geared towards soccer moms or people with Instagram followings. But it's primarily it's for anyone. It can be for the experts, as the level 3 lunatics that you guys have. But what really excites me is what you do with our aging our parents, right? That generation. That is such a problem that we have in this country where you just. Forget about the government social networks and all that stuff. We don't have the family bonds that I think we once had in this country, or that is commonplace in other countries. And so having something that keeps people healthy, keeps people engaged, keeps people active is amazing.
And then not only that, but then able to sort of chuckle at life when it comes at you. When you can't balance and you're the worst in class.
How many of those people that is for how many of the older set of your clients is what they do with you, like one of the most important things and fun things and rewarding things they do in their life. It's so many of them, you can just tell.
Even for me, it's one of the most important things I do for myself, just because we're all aging. Everyone's always aging.
We're all aging.
That's right. We all are aging. 47.
Dang it.
47 is cosmical.
It's cosmical? It's
Yeah.
cosmical and comical?
There's a couple ways you can measure. How do you measure whether you're making a difference in people's lives? One is they are now your biggest fans and they come to every class. But there's another interesting way. They stop coming to class because now they don't hurt and they can go play tennis and they can go, oh, I really love flow yoga. I discovered a new kind of movement. So this way, what I view our style as the perfect gateway drug to all movement. And if you like our style, great, you keep doing it. But if you can't move, do this stuff. Do this stuff. You do this stuff for the rest of your life, you'll play tennis the rest of your life, as long as you want. And you're not hurting my feelings by not coming to class. My job is done. And then you get older and you hurt your knee and you come back. Maybe, but it's actually okay that if I'm not the most precious thing in people's lives, that this hour on a Saturday morning, like you loved it for a couple of years. I know people for sure that hobbled into the Sunday afternoon class and hadn't played golf in a year, and golf is their life. And now they're always playing golf because their backs don't hurt and I never see them. Like that's a win for me.
That was basketball for me, certain extent basketball for you.
Yeah,
it kind of got us excited about seeing you. But it's also, back to the pithy sayings and not just the life lessons, right? One of the things you talk about a lot that's stuck with me is if you're injured or hurt, the one thing that's sure that is not going to fix it is ignoring it. Right.
Yeah.
And that has so much application to the rest of your life and so many other circumstances. Yeah. But it's really something that has stuck with me. And and now if I've got there's something minor wrong with my body, I pay attention to it and figure, what am I going to do to fix it, right? And it's just, that sounds so simple, but it's so powerful.
Yeah.
We have that discussion in our house. Genevieve will come to Andrew's class, and you can tell on a week I didn't sleep well. My back kind of sore. She'll just wake up one morning like, this is what I gotta go do. I gotta go see Andrew. And and I go, yeah, I know what you mean. Or a long car ride, you'll see us. We're very, we drove to New Mexico a lot, and you've just gotten back from there. And that would be what we did ahead of the trip. And after the trip, 13 hours straight in the car is a long way to go.
It is a long way to go. I actually bring a block with me. And
He
I
puts
will
it
put it
behind
behind my back
Yeah.
when I drive or when I'm in the passenger seat.
I've got one of those like
So helpful.
wrap around
Inflatable, yeah.
things. Yeah.
It's awesome.
The block is strong pro mode.
that's
It's
pro.
pretty
We're
intense.
still on the squishy stuff.
Yeah.
T-shirt will work for me.
It counts.
Yeah.
It still works.
Punny, 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 fart. Ooh, it's spin time. Ooh.
I said, okay, good. So we have some new additions for a joke we told on our last podcast. So the joke last podcast was Bruce Lee has a vegetarian brother,
Brocco.
Brocco Lee. He also has another brother who is super roughed up, like almost like knotty. I think there's knots all over his body. And his name is Gnarl.
No. Yeah.
Gnarly. And then I actually found out he has another brother. And this brother is super well-to-do. He's come up with all kinds of crazy, neat contributions
I
to...
heard he patented a bunch of stuff.
He
like
patented a
cornered
bunch
the
of...
market.
Exactly. And the annoying thing about him is I didn't share with anybody.
Yeah.
And so he keeps it all to himself, which is super crazy. Super rude, a little bit. But his name is Manapa.
Manapa.
Monopoly.
Don't say it.
Why? There may be someone who doesn't get it, and that's helpful.
No, it's not helpful. Didn't Bruce Lee have another sibling, a sister, who's one of the nicest, most generous, kind people in the world? I think her name was Sweet.
I didn't hear about her, but I did hear about his uncle, he was very well known in the army. His name was General.
He's kind of vague.
Yeah, just General. General. Exactly. It's a little vague.
Yeah.
Inclusive.
It was another, maybe it's like a cousin or something, who, I guess the brother's son, who always differentiated between lots of different things. Parso. Goes good and
Oh,
goes
okay.
good.
It was a little spice.
Yeah, just a little
Little herb.
herby.
Yeah. Goes great with pasta.
Yeah. I hear he's kind of half Italian.
Parsa.
Oh, I guess the last person in the family, everybody else has died from the family. He's the only one remaining, is Fina.
Well, then there's the other one who's like, is always saying the wrong thing.
I heard about him.
And he's like trying to do his best. Like, and he thinks he's doing the right thing. He gets accused anyways.
Yeah.
His name is False.
I thought it was Gilta.
Gilta would be nice too. Well, that's his nickname. False is his nickname.
Yeah.
But
His sister True.
yeah. Well, there you go. What did the ghost say to the bee?
What?
Booby.
There was a lot of buzz about that joke.
There was. What kind? What kind of insect is always climbing up an incline, and there's a lot of them?
What?
A rampant.
Oh, rampant. Yeah. There's a lot of them. They're everywhere.
I had this dream of orange soda the other night.
Fizzy.
And it was very fizzy, and
See
I
it?
had this dream the other night, and I was floating in the ocean of orange soda.
Oh.
And as I'm floating there, I'm like, what is happening? And then I start to look around. I'm like, there's all these letters around me, and they just so happen to be the third letter of the alphabet. Just like, and then I woke up and I realized it was just a fantasy.
I can see that. B is C's biggest proponent.
Why?
And one day he hopes to meet the letter C. He's a
You want
fan to
BC.
see.
Oh, VC, ABC. That's what you're saying?
Fan to see.
Oh, fan to see. Okay. I thought you were saying like A, B, C, like B wants to be C, B, C.
A, B, C, or D, F, G, E.
What do you get when you combined a insect? I lost it. Shit. Where'd it go? Oh, what do you get when you cross a homeless bovine with a insect that stings? A bumblebee.
What is the scaredest barnyard animal in a hospital?
What?
Cow ward.
That's good.
Thanks. What animal most closely resembles a biscuit on your lower leg? A bunny.
Oh, it's good. I was like, a calf? Wait, how does calf roll into this? Let's get a bunny. A biscuit. A biscuit? Wouldn't that be a pastry? A pastry on your lower
I
leg?
think it's a hamburger bread. Biscuit.
Biscuit.
So we make up jokes and we tell them in class. How annoying is it when people come to your class or come to my class after having started in your class and they say, oh, I see where you got it.
I mean, I don't care.
You don't care? I'm annoyed by it.
I don't really care. It's just, most people are going to think that. Most people think that, or vice versa.
Nobody has said, I got my sense of humor from you.
I know. Everyone says that. Like, I see where you get it.
What some people don't know is that Andre and I fell in love over laughter. We laughed our way into a relationship, and it's the thing that, we share a lot of stuff, but it's the main thing we share.
It's the only way we've made it through all these times, I feel like, for me.
Yeah.
I think I'm better at laughing than you are, although you're funnier than me.
That actually makes sense. I don't know that that's true, either statement, but
I have some evidence to back up my claim.
that you laugh better than me?
Yeah.
You can chuckle at things that aren't funny. Like you can chuckle things off, but that's not about comedy or humor or funniness.
Well, what I mean, like, I feel like I pride myself on not taking life going the wrong way.
But that's different than sense of humor and laughter and all
That
that
is
stuff.
a sense of humor. If you can laugh whenever you've lost something for the 14th time, chuckle at it, that's such a big deal.
That's right. You find more things funny than I do.
I do. Well, it's not like I really find them funny,
That is
but
true.
it's like I choose how I get to react to situations for the most part. I get to cultivate how I react, and I really have devoted a lot of my time. Just to me, I think it's so important. Not what you do. Who cares what you do? It's how you do it. How you do stuff matters.
Yes.
And
we don't
laughing.
argue about that.
Yes, we do. I get frustrated with you because you tend to get
That's
upset
different.
over the top.
That's different. But I don't argue that I should get upset all the time. I do.
Yes, you definitely
argue that I
do.
get it.
100%. Now, in hindsight, you always come around, but in the moment,
If you pick a fight with an upset person
not picking
and you're
up.
like, why aren't you laughing, upset person? That's a form of insanity on your part.
I don't do that anymore.
Anymore. Well, I was going to say, I don't know that it's 100% true, either statement. I think you were like Jim Carrey level energetic, but your ability to put things together and find actual humor in situations, somebody say a funny word and you could make a joke on that, or mostly in form of movie quotes. But what is that? That's your brain connecting dots, super light speed. People love your classes independent of me. It has nothing to do with me. And part of that is because you are brilliant and funny and all the other stuff, generous, kind. So I was thinking we should totally do a Marvelous Miss Maisel thing where you and I both do stand-up on the same night. We should put together 5 minutes.
Okay.
And people will love you, and then I'll have my identity as a funny person smashed, and then you can take your top off
Shut up.
on stage.
What kind of insect is always doing what they're supposed to be doing? Like you could bring anywhere.
I don't know.
A beehave.
I behave.
What kind of animal is most likely to lose their voice before they even talk?
What kind of animal?
A horse, of course. What kind of animal do you not want to bring with you to the store because they'll just be asking for everything?
What?
Iguana this and iguana that.
Oh, what do you call a flatulent teacher? A tutor.
Nice.
What do you call fart payments?
What?
What do you call fart payments?
What?
Tuition.
That was good. Okay.
What do you call tiny fart holders? Tweezers. Two tweezers.
What? Tiny fart holders?
Tiny fart holders for tiny farts. Tweezers. Just to honor you guys' time, first, super awesome that you guys made the time. It's awesome to see you, actually see you.
Likewise.
Missed you guys.
Likewise.
So I posted this little update on Facebook in April or May of 2020, something like
It was
that.
definitely before June.
And my memory is you guys read that, and then you reached out. So I got kids, I got marriage, I got mortgage, I'm running an investment firm, and I'm fielding calls and all this data from all these other different places. I have my fingers in many different pies. I'm constantly thinking creatively about what is going on in life and having deep thoughts about basketball and
stuff.
reading your Twitter, deep thoughts about basketball. And, and I think to myself, you know what I need to do every week for 6 months is devote some of my time and life energy to this small business that, okay, it's made a difference in my health, but like you guys haven't invested in us. It's not like our success is your success on the bottom line, but you reached out and said, hey, how can we help? And the truth is, I could not have actually told you how fucked up I was last April 2020. It took many months to sort of realize how. I'm okay. I've been super poor in the past. I've lived out of a van, but I also have worked my ass off not to have that happen again. I was like, I guess this is going to happen again. That's sort of, I was getting into this mode of sort of, okay, whatever it takes to have my family work, I'm going to make it work. But there's about to be a lot of sacrifices. That's stressful. When you mess with people's money, that's stress. And we didn't have any money. In the story of the last 2 years, the reason we have a website, the reason we had any kind of sanity and hope for the future is because of those calls you guys had with us.
Oh, really appreciate that.
It's such a big deal.
No, thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity to help. I really mean that. You guys are amazing, and the reason that we reached out was because we both feel that way. That it's important what you're doing. It is important for everyone. So many people can benefit from what you're doing. So glad we could be there in any small way, and love you guys. And we think that it is really important to solve that question we were talking about earlier about how do you get this out to a broader audience.
Yeah, our work is not
need
done.
this. No, it's not. No, it's not. But having the website,
We've come a long way.
But having the website up and running, it's so
much better.
great. And I don't see you guys, and I don't even know if you see me on there because I'm usually watching it on the recorded. I'm usually watching a live class from the YouTube,
the archives.
That's from the days that earlier in that day or what have you, or the archive. But I'm on there a lot. I can't tell you how much that saved me last year, right? Getting through COVID, having something to do that got me away from the work, from the financial stress that everybody was feeling last year, and life stress and marriage stress and everything else. So it was a great outlet for us to be able to try to help someone and to get to know. We didn't really know you, Andre, at the time, so getting to know both of you and helping you. And it is kind of a funny thing when you talked about avoiding or getting out of class after you teach. The Houstonian, it's always funny to watch the dance, the way people are lined up, to like get the wisdom of Andrew, right?
Get a whiff of the wisdom.
Or get a free elbow examination, exactly. Right? I mean, it's awesome.
I don't. Just as a disclaimer, I do not diagnose medical conditions. But there was a guy. If his wife hadn't drugged him to me after class, he would not have been able to repair the thing that he had wrong. He had fallen, caught himself, and he hurt his elbow, and his elbow was kind of hurting. And I took one look and I was like, I think you ripped your triceps off, dude. Now that's the problem. When you rip your biceps off, it sort of furls up in your arm. Yeah. And triceps is kind of the same. It's like, I'm pretty certain. It was like 3 weeks. And so he goes to we've been
suffering with a ripped
off. Well, the thing,
triceps.
It doesn't hurt. It's just sort of like sore and weird. And when you tear your biceps off, it doesn't hurt. It feels like the worst cramp you've ever had. But it's not like, dysfunctional pain. Same thing with pecs. It's not like, you see guys who just tore their pec, they're like, I tore my, like, it's not that kind of pain. And so he was just like, my elbow's funky. So he goes to the orthopedist, and the guy's like, if you had waited one more day, I probably couldn't have done surgery. So it was like, and his wife, he was like, no, I'm fine. I was like, get over here. Talk to Andrew.
He's
get your free 30 second.
This is part of our Houstonian monthly charge.
100%.
Yeah. Andrew, I would say to both of you guys, one of the benefits of having gotten to share time with you all and seeing the struggle, it was real, but yet seeing the opportunity in front of you was your passion. It's one of the things we talk about in the folks that we want to invest time in, whether it's time and money. This was easy for us to say, we don't have the answers. You acknowledge we don't have the answers, but together we can come up with something that's a little bit better, and we can encourage each other. Mm-hmm. I think back at the situation that you guys are in as a couple who works together. There's so much value in that, and seeing how you all have worked together as a married couple who also is struggling and working, that we can take home with us as well. Positive stuff, mostly, like in an amazing way. Yeah. And so for us, that is part of the give and take, right? There's people on the other side who are open to work together collaboratively to see if we can figure out something. And it's super valuable, and there's lots for us. So thank you, as Jeremy said as well. Thanks for inviting us in. And I hope we've been able to do some more. And I know there's still big goals here. This is a part of it. Getting the message out and sharing your unique insights together is going to help tell the story that Jeremy and I know so well because we've been able to participate as students of your practice. And it's been the only thing that's resonated with me, period, end of story. Yoga was this beach thing that women do, and it's not. I'm 6'5", and I have a different body frame, and things are a little harder. I'm squeezed into airplanes and stuff like that all the time. So learning how to take care of my body and the lessons that I've taught other people who have a back problem, I'm like, well, hold on. I'm not an expert, nor am I a doctor, but I can try these 3 things.
Try bad waiter, and
there
you
Get back
go.
to me. Thank you guys as well.
One last tip for you guys, since you've reminded me that I've got to go watch that Bo Burnham show,
Okay,
which
good.
I'm going
And
to
then
do.
you have to message us later.
I'm going to, and I'm going to start conversing only in
great.
snippets,
Yes.
which
great.
right now it's like an Ace Ventura. It'll expand my
Aces.
like a glove. But what I want to recommend to you guys is the 100-Foot Wave. It's a 4-episode mini-series. It's got a lot of parallels to what you guys are trying to do. It's about a surfer who finds this massive wave off of Portugal in Nazaré, and he basically bets his life on bringing that knowledge of this incredible wave to the surfing community, the big surfing community, who for a variety of reasons, because it wasn't in Hawaii or poo-pooed it, right? And it was like, you're wrong, right? You're not right. And eventually that message got out, and now it's renowned as probably the number 1 big surfing wave spot in the world. A really cool story about triumphing, and that it was many years of him spending time bringing this story to life. And there's also a great how he met his wife thing that you guys will appreciate, given the story that I just heard.
What is always true is that when you do a hard thing, it's hard. And when something is hard, it doesn't ever feel easy. And so this last year was hard for us, but I say this to people all the time, and so this is the only reason
The
only reason I can remember it.
So amazing.
Wow.
Wow.
Marriage is what brings us
together
today. It's another way actually the first thing we bonded
I
over.
feel like I'm on the inside again.
Yes,
All
okay,
right,
okay.
good.
Back in.
Yeah.
Stop rhyming. I mean it.
Anybody got a peanut?
I don't think that means what you think it means. Okay, where was I? So I work with people who it literally took them 4 years to get into a form stand. And watching the slow, I'm falling asleep. It just takes so long as they do their jumps, and it doesn't look like anything's getting any better. And if you plotted their strength over time, it's obviously getting better, but because they're under the threshold called, I need to be this strong to get into a form stand, it's only failure,
invisible.
only failure. And then they peak above it for a second, and then for 6 more months, they're below it. The only reason we're only failing because we have these big goals. If our measure of success is I have a pulse and I can hold my kids and I have a couple more breaths before I die, okay, we win. We all win. But we have these bigger dreams, these ideas, and that we have the stuff that's left from decades of wondering, hey, what could we do? And coming up with 100 ideas, and okay, none of those 100 ideas were worth our time. And so, okay, what's the next 100? And so we have these kind of bigger dreams for what we could create. Whether we get there or not, who knows? But we believe in it. Otherwise, we wouldn't put our time and energy. But we're here right now. And, for the first time in a long time, we went down in terms of performance and certain metrics. But the thing that I keep repeating is, even in this time, so the 2 things that I really got out of this time, where it's hard and I am so expecting to just be able to fly into this forum stand because I know I'm strong and I've been doing this for years and I should just succeed, is almost every night since February I've eaten lunch. I've eaten breakfast. Let me try that again. Beep. Beep, beep. Anybody have a minute?
Let's see that in an instant replay.
I'm open.
Put me in, coach.
Is every night I've eaten dinner with my kids since February 2020. And for somebody who has spent most of his life sort of leaning into this idea that I'm bad with people or I'm not good with friends, being willing to both ask and receive help. So you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Would love to have you guys here for is actually to like talk nitty gritty business stuff, small business, what you look for. And so maybe we can have like a business hour.
Part deux.
Yeah, part deux.
Do it.
Hot shots.
I am down. This has been a lot of
Always happy to do it. And we
I'm
would
down.
come prepared with
Yeah.
some real insights.
And by the way, you guys have, like, just so you know, I think about this stat. I'm kind of like a baseball stats dork from the old day. You know, that's what I grew up being punched over baseball cards, right? So they have all these stats in baseball, right? It's like lifetime WAR, wins over above replacement, and all these things. Like your lifetime WAR in terms of your impact on other people is in the top 5 of anybody that I've known in my entire life. Along with the guy who founded KIP, who's a good friend, along with maybe Ben Hunt, who's taught people how to think about the world. I mean, you guys are way up there. So just know that.
Thank you.
That's important.
That's awesome.
And keep doing what you're doing. It's awesome.
And we'll keep making it sound good too.
That's the plan. That is the plan. I figure we do it long enough, we'll figure this stuff out.
Well, congratulations on all your success. You smell terrific.
I did shower and put on deodorant. Wasn't sure though.
I was not sure.
No, I like Old Spice. I don't want a ladies deodorant, but TMI. Forget I said it.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Sounds
Thank
good.
y'all.
Super duper.
They call him obsessed, give him time to be best. He'll always learn something new. He puts the 2 into God.
On this segment, I share the stuff that has come from decades of just being obsessed with learning new skills. Like any obsession, I can't really tell you why I do it, but it has afforded me a beautiful and rich life. Some things are hard for me. I actually attack them because of their difficulty. But other things are just things that I've done, and over the years I get better at them. Maybe in the past they were obsessions like photography, music, and now it's just a part of my life. It's who I am. I am a photographer. I am a musician. Not like identity, but I don't think about it. I am a pants wearer. I wear shorts. I play music. One of the silly things that we'll talk about today is turning life into a musical. When I was a professional musician, I would often be in the pit, playing the music in the orchestra that you'd hear. And the truth is, I really didn't like most of the music. I don't like musicals generally. They're corny. So many of the songs have almost nothing to do with anything. But musicals themselves have this obnoxious power. If anyone being honest and truthful about music would have to acknowledge some of the most beautiful music ever written has been written for musical. Think Phantom of the Opera. Think Secret Garden. Think Hamilton. But when I say turning life into a musical, it's sort of a simpler thing. It's not about lyrics. I've never been a lyrics guy. Singing with my wife, we sing more lyrics now than I've ever sung in my life. But before, music had nothing to do with words. Music had everything to do with the notes on a page. And so whereas if you just named any song that played on the radio in the 90s, my wife could sing every lyric. She has a photographic memory for song lyric. For me, I can sing the tune and I can tell you the harmony and I have the song memorized. I know the sections, the A, B, C, F. For Andrea's birthday, I made up a little song. The song literally took me no more than 2 minutes to write. I'm not saying you should be impressed when you hear it. And then I had my kids just record it. And this was one of the little gifts for Andrea's birthday last month.
Mom likes food. Mom likes words. Mom likes looking up and seeing all the birds. Mom likes jokes. And Mom is funny. I am a boy. I guess that means I'm her sonny. Andrea, when I do my chores, I'll fold all the laundry. Andrea, I know in my bones that forever she'll love me.
If you've ever been to one of my classes, you know that I'm always singing little ditties. It's a way to distract you from the suffering a little bit. It sort of seems counter given our commitment that you feel whatever's going on in your body. The truth is most of you take life too seriously, and you take this practice too seriously, and you suffer unnecessarily. And if we can just be light, just have fun, enjoy this moment, man, does that make a difference. Shish kebabs, does that make a difference.
All that shaking's good for you. You'll be sore and come back for more. When everybody does one, you'll do two. 'Cause you're stronger and better looking. than all those schmoes who don't come to this class. All right, 60. Let's get her.
That was from a level 3 class last month. So what I want to invite every one of you to do right now is to look around your room and just look for words written on stuff. So right in front of me there is a mic and a stand. O.C. Whitecoat is a good stand. It's got gold springs. I don't understand. It's kind of complicated. It's got some hinges. And then sometimes you get lost. You don't know how to rhyme things. And then you don't. It actually is, it's fun to end poorly. I got a Neumann mic right in front of me. I like to sing into it like a bee. Buzz it, buzz it, buzz. It doesn't buzz. It never buzzes. It's a good mic, not a bad mic that buzzes. It does not have to be good. And I recommend that it is the worse of the better. There's only 2 things I own made by Behringer. Yuck. Behringer's a crappy company. That really sucks. In front of me is a mini amp. It's got a 4-channel headphone amp. I used it in a pinch and I want to throw it in the swamp. When I was younger, I was prone to depression, and man, the pandemic really triggered all those old, well-trodden brain pathways. Those old grooves were easy, like a record needle to fall into. And in those moments, just finding anything to get your head out of it. It's not being manic, but being silly is so helpful in getting over this disease that we tend to have, which is we take life too seriously. We take ourselves too seriously. We take our problems too seriously. There are lots of strategies to get over your problems, but try this one. In public, like out loud. And if you do so, you might actually make a friend. It's kind of a nice social litmus test. This podcast was produced in Houston, Texas by the world-renowned Cerebellum and myself, Andrew Dugas.